Hi, and welcome KCIW listeners at 100.7 FM or online at kciw.org, Brookings, Oregon. Hi to our syndicated listeners at KZZH 96.7 FM, Access, Humboldt, Eureka, California, and our listeners at KSKQ 89.5 FM, Ashland, and 94.1 FM, Medford, Oregon. This is Joyously Free Radio with me, Joanie Lindenmeyer, the best-selling author of None Better, An Amazing Love Story, and co-author of Joyously Free and Healing Religious Hurts. I'm so glad that you are tuning in today. I'm a resident of Harbor, Oregon, a retired high school teacher, a recent author who has published 3 books in 2 years, created an audiobook, and with friend and film producer Mike Gorse, created a short film called Wowzer. That's a definite C. We are on a roll. But most of all, right now, right here, this very place, I love life and love being the producer and host of this high-energy, joyously free radio-gadio show, so named by Will and Viv. This show talks about LGBTQ plus stories and tips, along with religion, church, faith, spirituality, and most importantly, joy. It's about joy and freedom and how we can radiate and spread that. It's also the title of my second book, Joyously Free, co-authored with Elizabeth Ann Atkins of Two Sisters Writing. In this radio broadcast, just as in my everyday life, there will be no hate speech, no hate behaviors, and no bullying. It will be blasted with what I call the 3 C's: courage, confidence, and collaboration. So together on this Radio Gadio show, let's sparkle and seek understanding. Think out of the box or no boxes at all, and be open-minded as an open parachute. Let's begin with our daily salutation. I'm going to say it's a brand new day, and if you could respond with, it's never been lived before. Let's see how we can do. It's a brand new day.
And it's never been lived before.
Oh, I love it. I love it. You're going to be introduced to Judy in just a second. She's a fireball. Thank you for saying that. Yes, and you're just sitting right across the table from me, looking eyeball to eyeball. But before we get into our interview, let's again open our hearts, do our little prayer this morning, ask the divine to shine light on our community and our world. I excitedly believe in hope, in the power of the spiritual, and that Jesus, God, Spirit, whatever name you put on a higher being, is always with me and always with you. So be not afraid or troubled, saddened or depressed. Joy and peace are an internal expression of love and harmony. It's already within us, and all we have to do is reach deep within and let it out. Let's center ourselves. Take a calm, deep breath in with the good and out with doubt. Again, breathe in through your nose with hope and out from your mouth with fears. Last one. Take a big, deep breath in with joy and out with any worry or despair. In the name of Mother Earth, Creator God, Jesus, a Redeemer, blowing winds of the Holy Spirit, we say, hi, light, hi, love, hi, God, hi, Spirit. Thanks for being with this beautiful day. The quote I picked today, it's a funny one because I have this funny little journal thingy that I have in my prayer corner at home. But I love this one, and I thought of my guest speaker today. And the quote goes like this: Jesus is watching, but police have radar. When I read that, I saw that, and it's like I just started chuckling inside. Jesus is watching, but police have radar. I guess what that said to me was, everywhere I go, whoever I'm in contact with, whatever nature thing I'm involved in, whatever book I'm reading, Jesus is with me. And I don't have to be worried about anything because of that. But I also, on the other hand, when I get in my car, I have to remember Jesus is with me, but I know the police have radar. So, Joanie, watch where you're going. Pay attention to the other drivers. Be polite. Be kind. Don't speed. And make it a good day. So it sounds funny, but that's sort of my spirituality of driving and life today. Oh my gosh. Let us end our loving prayer by lifting up our friends and family. May you find healing, praise, gratitude, whatever's on your heart today. May we thank the Holy One for hearing us and being with us. May we be blessed to do bigger things for more people. So with that, amen. Well, KCIW listeners, KZZH, and KSKQ listeners, all of us, let me introduce you to a friend of mine. Her name is Judy Howard, and to me, she is an author, a podcaster, and a motivational speaker. She makes things happen. And one of the best things I love about Judy is her humor in her writings and in who she is. So, Judy, welcome to the radio show, Joyously Free.
Well, thank you, Joanie. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited to sit down with you and do this. You impressed me, inspire me.
Thank you. Well, and I remember the very first time we met, you attended one of my book events, and I thought, who is this lady in this straw cowboy hat with a vivacious smile? And you were just like so full of energy. I just had to get to know you. And that's truly who you are. So how are you today?
Well, I'm wonderful today. I've been preparing for this interview, but I know that the Spirit is everywhere.
Yes.
I've crossed over some line where I don't get so stressed out about when I'm on like this.
Uh-huh.
So I know that He's in charge and the words will come. Yes. And we will all have a good message out of this.
Awesome.
And it's never been done before. Like you said, this time has never been lived before, and I'm ready to go.
Right on. Well, I know you've written several books, but before you jump into talking about your books and your podcast and your motivational speaking, tell us a little bit about who you are.
Who I am. Well, I used to tell everyone a long time ago, over 15 years ago, that I was an author. And I mean, I'm into the present. I stay in the present as much as I used to introduce myself as a dog groomer. I was a dog groomer since I was 11 years old.
Oh, wow.
And I had my own business since I was 11 years old. And that's who I was. And I earned my living that way and never thought much of it. I liked what I did.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there was one time maybe I said, maybe there's more than this, but it wasn't. Somebody says, but you're doing such good things for these people with their puppies and their kitties and stuff. And that was good enough. And so now when you ask me, who am I am so many things.
Oh, good. Tell us.
But mainly why I'm here and why I am now a published author of 8 books and a podcaster and all this is because I believe that I have this message. And I've struggled with exactly what the message is. But the fact is I just know that I inspire people. When I started writing, I started traveling across the country. And I was in my motorhome with my cat. My husband had passed away, so I was doing this alone. And I would do seminars and meet people in beautiful places and all this. Mm-hmm. And everywhere I went, people would say, you inspire me. And I kept hearing that over and over and over until finally I had to say to my maker, I says, okay, I hear you. Oh. I just have to, and I knew I was supposed to take it to a higher level than just teaching writing. So that's who I am. I'm here, my purpose. Did you know that they're calling it now that Americans are in a purpose crisis? I mean, there's always something, isn't there?
Right. True. So, we've been around a while, yes.
Yeah. So anyway, but I am here to help people find their path. I don't give advice because I've learned through this journey that, their way is not their way doesn't have to be my way. And they don't have to walk down the road I went. I used to teach writing, and I thought they had to do this book a certain way, and then they did it their way, and yet it still transformed them. So I'm here to help you find the right words, the right thoughts, so that you can be who you're supposed to be.
And that's joyously
for
free.
Today.
And that's
yes,
joyously
it
free.
Is
that's authentic.
Yes, because to watch somebody become joyously free is like a high you'll never have. And that's my purpose, is to get that high. And and the only way I can get it is helping other people.
And you
that's what
do
we're
that
here
with
for.
mega amounts of energy. You are ballistic in your energy in sharing who you are and just your joy of your own life. I was reading your book last night. I love this book. It's called Coast to Coast with a Cat and a Ghost. I love this book. It's so full of humor, but it's so packed with some depth in there too. Would you talk a little bit about how you bring and inspire people through your books?
Well, I tell my story. That book was my very first book. Now, like I told you all, I was a dog groomer since I was 11 years old. That's all I knew. I dropped out of college because I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do. So I had no college education. And my husband had just passed away, and I had started traveling in my motorhome. And I still had my business, but I was wanting to semi-retire. So I took a creative writing class. And I thought I took it just for fun. I was not one of the 80% of the people who thought about writing a book. It never crossed my mind. Never, ever. And so anyway, I took this creative writing class, and the first exercise was a writing prompt to write about the color red for 10 minutes. And I thought, oh, man, who could possibly write about the color red for 10 minutes? I wanted to do more serious writing, so whatever I was there for, But again, I was just doing it for fun. But I wanted to be a good student, so I put my pen to the paper and started writing about the color red. And the things that came out on my paper was our cherry tree in the backyard and how we picked cherries and how my mother would teach us to put them all in a basket of our bicycle and go around the neighborhood and sell them. She was always trying to teach us how to be independent because she had wanted to divorce my father, but she would never get any of his money, so she decided to stay. And she was making sure that her girls would never be dependent on a man. And she did that with me, for sure. But anyway, so I took this class, and when I started writing, I was just blown away. But all of this was coming out of my head that I didn't even know it was just blew me away. And to tell you the truth, folks, I was hooked. I mean, what else is in there? I just want to know what else is in there. And
darling.
I said, if I'm going to keep coming to this class, I'll write a book. Now again, I tell everybody in my seminars, thank God I didn't know how hard it was to write a book, because I would not have done it. I would be like so many people that I meet. They're just afraid and they don't think they're good enough or whatever. And I remember my sister saying once, because she was kind of, she had an education. She married well, and she was just so much more than me, because I was just the redneck sister. And I remember her.
Back to the color red.
Yeah, back to the color. yeah, right. So anyway, she said she started helping me. She was helping me edit because she had the education, she said. And she says, I don't understand, because it was good. She was impressed by my writing. And she says, I don't know how you do. What do? You just decide you're going to do this, and then you just do it? And I don't believe that I knew I did. That's how I operate in life, but that's what I was doing. I decided I'd write this book, and I'll just write it. And for anybody out there who has thought about writing a book, believe me, I said, you just got to start it, because I knew absolutely nothing about writing a book. I didn't know about structure. I didn't know building character. I didn't know any of this stuff. So I'm self-taught. Once I had this obsession, then I was on fire. And when I wasn't writing, I was reading about writing. I joined critique groups, and that's where I got a lot of my education. So anyway, I just want everyone to know that even if you were a dog groomer, you could write books. I have 8 published books now. I'm a podcaster now. I do motivational speaking, and I love my life.
Wow, I love that. And you are a storyteller in all of that. So just like your example of red, that led to so many other things, the cherry tree and what have you, but you are a storyteller with enthusiasm. Oh my God. And you never imagined this.
No. Now, I just want to add that it's not easy. The first time I had to if you don't know what a critique group is, for writers' critique group, authors come together or wannabe authors, and we read what we've written to the rest of the group, and each one goes around and comments on it and gives us positive comments. So one week I had written an article, a chapter about it. I was doing this coast to coast book, and I was going to talk about about my husband who had been abusive in my marriage, and when I was going to read that portion to the class, and I knew I was so stressed out because when I read this to them, they knew that I was a woman who stayed in a marriage that was abusive. Mm-hmm. And I was so ashamed, the shame I had for that. And I thought, oh my God, what are they going to think of me? And I guess because I was so obsessed, but I did it. And once I did that, nobody said anything badly about me. They just went on, and I tell in my classes, I said, after I got over that hump, I'll tell you anything now about my life. Right. I have no shame at all. So, right. But there are hard things, and to be in a group where everybody you think knows more than you, it's difficult. Right. So there are challenges, but one at a time, many steps, micro steps, I got through it.
Right. And you are an inspiration. You say you inspire people. That's your message and mission, I guess. But you are the inspiration because of what you've been through, how you've been a survivor, how you found your authenticity. And I love hearing this.
Yes.
I love hearing this.
After I'd been writing and doing seminars, and I kept getting this message from up above that says, you are an inspiration. People were telling me this all the time, and I said I've got to take it to a higher level because I can hear that there's signs out there. If you looking for your purpose, there's signs. You just have to watch and listen for them. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But when I wanted to, I says, well, I'll become a motivational speaker because I know I'm motivating people already. And the thought of that just turned my stomach into a rock. Ooh, I thought, oh man, I can't do this. Who wants to hear from me? We do all of the self-talk that putting ourselves down. And so I had all of this negative talk. I says, first of all, I was 64 years old at that time. I was 64 years old. I don't have any degrees, so I have no formal education. I've been a dog groomer all my life. Who would want to hear what I had to say? And I put it on my business card anyway. And I thought, well, let's just see what happens, because I knew I wouldn't do it unless somebody asked me. So I put it. And for about 6 months, nobody even noticed that it said motivational speaker on my card. And about 6 months after that, every time I handed out my card, and my card was busy. It had all the titles on my book and all pictures of my cat and my motorhome and all this. Anyway, they looked at the card, and out of all of that, they zeroed in on motivational speaker instead of author. And I felt like a deer in the headlights. I says, oh, God, they're going to ask me to be a motivational speaker at their group. And I finally did get the gig. And then at the hours before I was to speak, it was during 2020 when the lockdown happened, and the organization got word that they had to cancel the show. Mm-hmm. So anyway, but either way, I said, well, what is that message from above? Mm-hmm, I said, and it wasn't time, because I'm such a different person than it was back in 2020. And I hope to God I'll be a different person 5 years later from now. So, but anyway, so I'm just saying, we run into obstacles, and you just have to set it up to fool this mind that drives you crazy most of the time. That
self-talk is so important, isn't
it?
Yes, it sounded like you've turned that negative self-talk into positive self-talk and moving forward.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. And that's what happens in your book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Or books.
Books, yeah.
Books. Yes. And think about that, listeners. This is really incredible. We're sitting here with an author who's written 8 books. She's energized. She's a motivational speaker, and she's a podcaster. Yes, you have something to say. Yes, you have something to say. And not just say, you bring out the best in other people, Judy. You absolutely do. What do you enjoy the most? Is it the podcasting, the writing, or the motivational speaking? What do you enjoy the most?
The writing. And when I started my podcast, I do get obsessive about things. So I pushed my work in progress, the book that I'm working on now, aside. And so I've been working on the content, which content for a podcast is totally different than writing as a creative writing. And so I made the decision because I've been shoving it to the side. And so anyway, this year I said, I've got to finish this book. It's called A Trillion to One. And it's about my parents, although it's going to be a novel. And I've started writing again, and I thought, oh, my God, I just love this. This is when you can go into that special place where nobody else lives but you and your characters. And it's just, I've almost forgotten how that is. So,
and that's an awesome title. What does that mean to you? A Trillion to One.
A Trillion to One. Well, that title, and that's a working title, but I just love that title. Uh-huh. So when I came to Brookings, I started a writing critique group because I'd been traveling and I missed my critique groups, and so now I've started this group. And to be honest with you, and I have had a prejudice and aversion to people like you, Joanie, that are always talking about Jesus. I say you're all Jesus freaks, and there's a long a story behind that too of why I understand why. But anyway, I knew part of it was the language. But anyway, everybody who came into my critique group, all they wanted to write their story about was how Jesus has saved them. And I says, oh, dear God. I says, I don't know if I can handle this. I know you're putting this in my path, I have to get over this. And so anyway, they wrote their stories and everything, and it wasn't just that they were talking about Jesus, but their lives and everything else, and their parents, and you talk about that in memoirs. And I realized all of a sudden it came to me how lucky I was to have the parents I had. And I had gotten pregnant when I was 16 in high school. And when I tried to go back to high school to finish after I had the baby, they wouldn't let me come back. And I know my father had to have marched into that high school and said, you're going to let her return and get her degree. And I think it's the only way it could have happened, because I knew I didn't know for sure, but I know he was that kind of guy. There's no other way I could have got back.
Wow.
So I had to sit in the back of the class, not talk to anybody. And if they had any social events, I was to wait in the principal's office.
Oh, wow.
And when everybody told me that, when I tell my story, they go, oh, that's terrible. They treated you that way. Now, in my mind, that was religion, in my opinion.
Oh.
But that created that situation. But in my mind, I told everybody says, oh, it's terrible. They treated you that way. And I said, you know what? It didn't bother me. It didn't bother me. And I just dealt with it. And it wasn't until I was 70 years old did I find out that was the crux of why I hated religious people.
Yeah.
So
that was an insight. It was. And what a thankfulness to your dad for doing that, marching in.
So the title, we're on the title. So anyway, the title, I decided, I am so lucky to have the parents I had. And I was watching these other people going through, talking about their parents and stuff. And I thought, I want to write their story because I really don't know it. We weren't a family that talked. So my father had been a race car driver, and my mom went with him for 16 years before I was ever born. So anyway, all of that, they're religious because I was brought up with no religion. Anyway, so I just want people to know, with all of this that's going on in the world, that some things just never change. People have struggled with these same issues over and over and over again throughout life. And my parents went through
Auschwitz,
where you're being criticized for your religion.
Ostracization.
Yeah. And so we've all struggled with issues, social issues, let's put it that way. And it's no different today than it was yesterday. So...
And we can all get through it.
Yes, we all get through it, and they got
whether
through
you're
it.
using humor to do that or
Yeah.
however you can
Yeah.
tell your story,
Yes.
and that's how you do.
Yes.
You tell your story. You
Yeah.
have the humor. You have everything packed in these books, and it's part of who you are.
Yes.
So would that be like your final tip? Is that what would be your final tip?
Well, I have some.
You've got 30 seconds.
Okay,
Judy.
30 seconds. I want to tell the readers to remember this. Your thoughts become words, your words become actions, your actions become habits, and your habits become the values, and your values become your destiny. So be careful of what you think about.
And how you say it.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
yes.
Oh my gosh. That's phenomenal. That's a great ending to this. This has been phenomenal. It goes by so fast with you every time I'm with you. So I want to thank you from the top of my heart for being here and telling your story and doing all the things that you do and being you. Thank you so much, Judy. Thank you.
Well, thank you for this opportunity.
Absolutely.
I love sitting down with you.
Oh my God. And we want to thank all the listeners, from
yes.
all the radio stations, all the locations around. We hope you've been inspired and loved Judy as much as I have today. You can always get a hold of us at KCIW. But let's thank also other people to thank would be Mike Gorse on sound, Tom Bozak, Candace and Rose. I want to thank Steve and Sally and Todd for sponsoring Joyously Free. And everybody, I think Judy's last tips, I'm going to ask her to read it one more time before I sign off. Can you read your last tips for the listeners?
Your thoughts, remember this, your thoughts become words, your words become actions, your actions become habits, and your habits become your values.
Awesome.
And guess what? Your values become your destiny.
Awesome. So everybody, smile big, wear bright colors. Have a great day. Thanks again, Judy.
Thank you.